Or representation without taxation. General Electric just had Forbes magazine for their tax loophole where they shifted their profits overseas, and the American taxpayer gave them $1 billion and a tax rebate after they paid absolutely no taxes. Now you got the Tea Party talking about taxes, one of their main issues. I don't see the Tea Party talking about who isn't paying, and we're making up the difference. When Walmart came to Spooner, they wanted the taxpayers to subsidize their roads. They pay no state income tax. 83% of Wisconsin corporations pay no state income tax. So people don't realize it's not that we're paying, it's who isn't paying, and we're making up their end.
Absolutely. I am hearing more and more complaints about corporations and people that don't pay any taxes. I didn't say illegally. Legally.
Legally.
I'm hearing a lot of that, both at the state and federal level. And I think people are getting fed up with it. They should be. We need real tax reform, and I'm trying to stay open-minded about what it should be. I prefer modifying the progressive income tax, and I'm looking at the flat tax. I'm looking at this fair tax that people are talking about. I don't like the idea of the value-added tax, but I think we need a real debate where we can do something about this abuse.
Well, for the amount of people that haven't been paying, we may not have a deficit at this point in time.
That's right.
For it's been many, many years that the UBS situation.
I agree. Frank McGarry?
I was wondering why you were so insistent upon acceptance of illegals. So in favor of it.
Well, I'm not for amnesty, and I'm not for acceptance of illegals. In fact, I want people to have to become in a legal status because I think the illegal system is a mess. We have to close the borders. We have to make sure that employers can't hire and use illegals or undocumented people. And we have to make sure those that are already here, if they're going to stay here, are put in a legal status, pay a penalty, maybe a couple of penalties financially, and get in line behind everyone else for citizenship.
So we're, in effect, we're offering them amnesty.
I don't consider penalties and waiting 11 years to be the same thing as amnesty. Amnesty would be saying, fine, just stay here, you're here, that's cool, with no responsibilities and no penalties at all. I want there to be significant penalties.
Yeah, but I mean, we still end up with plus 40 million people, extra people, all of a sudden.
The figure I've heard is 12 to 15, but
Well,
yes, so many of the, yes, I don't favor taking all the people that have come here, lining them up and sending them back to Mexico. I don't.
Do you think that we, excuse me, one quick question. Do you not think that they would repatriate if we put into effect E-Verify, for instance? And if we refuse them places to live?
Some might, and that might be entirely appropriate. I mean, in terms of the E-Verify. I didn't hear the other thing you said.
Well, make it illegal to rent.
Well, I've got some concerns about that kind of conduct. But E-Verifying some of those things, I think that's more legitimate.
It did seem to work when our economy suddenly slumped. Quite a few of them did.
Yeah, and maybe in some cases that's appropriate. Reese?
What is the future of No Child Left Behind?
Well, I was one of 10 senators to vote against No Child Left Behind because I was warned about it at these town meetings. I listened to people, and they said this is going to force teachers to teach to the test. I've been trying ever since to pass legislation to change it, and I think we have a chance to change it. President Obama has acknowledged that having just this one test is not an adequate thing in terms of evaluating kids, but I'm concerned about some of the other things they're saying I don't like. They're going to be more tilted toward the urban schools only. So we have an alternative that I've worked on with Senator Leahy and others that would not only provide different measures, ways to measure kids, but also change some of the funding structures and so on that caused me to vote against it. It also would get rid of what I like to call the Garrison-Keillor provision, which is that all the kids have to be at a certain level by 2014. They all have to be above average. There's some dumb stuff in there. So I have been one of the leaders trying to change it. We would have had a shot at this 2 years ago, but when Senator Kennedy fell ill, that committee sort of stopped functioning, and then this committee got involved with healthcare. Now I think we're going to finally move on to reforming this.
So you have a strong enough core of people that are.
I don't know yet, but your pushing on this helps. People need to say, because this is your chance now, and my chance, after 10 years to finally get this thing changed. So people need to be talking about it, talking to the legislators, saying, we don't want it just rubber stamped, we want it fixed.